Good day, everyone. So, I am Ana Jane Disipolo, and my assigned topic is family, gender, subordination, and class society. So the family originated cannot be determined for sure, but social scientists have provided intelligent speculation on features of early family life based on the lives of primates, tools and home sites, and prehistoric humans in family life of hunting and gathering communities. So, family is a married couple or other group of adult kinfolk who cooperate econ- economically and in the upbringing of children, and all or most of whom in the common dwelling includes various forms of kin-based household. So, that marked that early family included those that favored gender equality on the other hand, and those that helped pave the way of gender subordination on the other hand. So the former included the social recognition in marriage as long as a long-term relationship between individual man and woman with the possibility of divorce or separation, and initial ascription or understanding of paternity as social rather than biological. So let's proceed to this sexual division of labor, men's tools and women tools. So this is elaborated with the emergence of pairing marriage and family household. So the two factors stand out that the shaper division of sex. So the first one is hunting over wine terrain in through prolonged periods. The second one is protracted stages of pregnancy and childcare. So this sex division labor is um, the development of hunting gives rise to speculation tasks of cooking, clothing preparation from bark to an animal skins, and building of shelters. So men engaging in hunting which required aggressive and potentially death-dealing tools such as the spear and bow and arrow. Um, Women foraged and later developed horticulture, which essentially meant nurturing life from the earth and domestication of animals. So the spheres of male and female labor may have been separated, but relationships were relatively egalitarian. So maintenance of the family in the early human community was based on a partnership between women and men. So the pre-colonial Filipina status may be adduced from historical records from the situation of women in non-Christian tribal monitories. So they are known to engage the trade and farming and could pass in on property to their children. So the next one is gender subordination and class society. So this is include include the appropriation of female production and reproduction labor. So the productive labor, this is refers to the fruits of the female productivity in terms of goods and services for exchange, while reproductive labor in terms of reproductive labor to the fruits of female procreation in terms of children as future sources of labor power and as heirs of male claim and controlled wealth and the fruits of female labor for domestic consumption. So patriarchality meant a man's choose a family based on their marriage, which usually implied that a couple joined the man's family. So while matricolati meant a wife's choice a family based, usually her family. So with the context of matrilineal descent, this system meant a woman distributing her productive and reproductive labor to a family household or a clan composed of brothers and sisters traced through the male line. So the derivative of the word family reveals its exploitative base. So famulus meant household or household slave. Familia was the totality of slaves owned by the one person. So um, this is it contains within itself in mat, man, miniature all the antagonism which later developed on wide scale within society and its state. So now let's move on to the feudalism. So feudalism continued with the incorporation of slave and serfs, of increased demands of herd raising and agricultural production, and the consolidation of paternal authority over the extended household. So female subordination has grown and deepened with the emergence of private property. There remain integrity between production and consumption within the household, with women and children sharing the same degree in productive labor. So the individual who accepted this land became a vassal, and the man who granted the land became known as the lord. So those the institution of class rule exploited and heightened gender oppression not only by tying female labor primarily to the domestic sphere but also by legalizing women's devolved status through the absence or lack of civil inheritance and political rights of women. So, capitalism. So, the emergence of capitalism in its industrial form, later reaching an apogee in the industrial revolution in the 19th century, broke the unity between production and consumption in the agrarian household. So the family household was enhanced as the focus of the oppression of the woman. So women and children formed the bulk of the early industrial proletariat, being the cheapest and most docile labor force available. So this woman had neither an inclination or an physical health or procreate. But the working class um, had to be produced and to ensure the next generation of works and shoulders. So the idealists of familism and romantic love were for fostered among the working class to motivate and to reproduce. So The next one, so let's tackle now the mechanisms of reproduction. So the patriarchal family household perpetuates itself the three levels: ideology and socialization, state policy, and the system of laws and economic and domestic structure. So male dominance and female subordination in the family household are rooted in the sexual division of labor that makes women and the children and the economic dependence of wage of men earning. But there has been little questioning of the inequitable gender relations within such an agreement. So one reason of the biologistic perspective that justifies the division of labor which assigns to women the task of domestic and emotional servicing of virtuality the whole family. So So let's tackle about the ideology and socialization. The first one is femininity and masculinity. So gender ascribes to woman as feminine, ascribe attributes of care, compassion, gentleness, patience, forbearance, submission, self-sacrifice, faithfulness, a preoccupation with detail, attributes required for sakes, task of the childcare, the endless round of house chores, boundless severs for others, safeguarding or morality and of family and society, keeping faith with the philandering spouse. So woman rightful place is at home, so while man is outside. So this gender construction of what is appropriately feminine and masculine provides the basis of various ideologies examined in the earlier section which justify existing domestic and emotional arrangement of the family household. So the second one is family. So family posits the home as as a haven of love and care in the world of turmoil and rapid change, a private domain beyond the reach of the outside world. So family serves as to compensate men for their loss of autonomy and seeks to stem an alienation in workplace with loving relationship with the home. So a man maybe man is a bottom of picking order in the factory, but at home he is the boss. So familism and its absolutization of privacy have exacerbation domestic violence and the exonerate of guilty. So the next one is motherhood and romantic love. So motherhood and wifehood serves as compensate women for their loss of autonomy and selfhood through the success and achievements of children and spouse. So romantic love serves to compensate women for the loss of their sexual and economic independence with the ascendancy of the bourgeoisie. So motherhood to the ideology of romantic love serves as the compensate of their sexual economic independences. So motherhood is a woman's finest calling for which she is ready to sacrifice her and her interest. So now let's tackle the sex rules. So the socialization of children is informed by class and gender, a process that starts at home and continues at school, church, and through media. The six role stereotyping or difference, differentiation of men's and women's work is manifest at home where women take primary responsibility for housework. So rare or exceptional is the male who shares it on an equal and regular biases. So the next one is housework. So houseworks may prove to be women in general and housewives in particular view it as central to their lives, which as such acceptance aided by myth surroundings housework. So there are the first myth of housework is natural for women, those their infinite patience with housekeeping whose multifarious tasks repeat themselves endlessly. So the other myth is the housewives have a lot of free time. The third myth is that housewives make the best mothers because women are naturally caring. So now let's proceed to the church, schools, and media. So in the Philippines, women are regarded primarily for their procreative function and sex is viewed as a means of reproductive rather than source of mutual pleasure. Not only are these myths and ideologies embedded at home, they are also reflected in church teaching, education curricula, and media content. So, so the ideology of family in the context incorporates the wish of bigger families. So, male dominant and the initiative vest vest female subordination and passivity are also reflected in formal education curricula and materials and in media advertising in new coverage. So those a woman is projected as a mother, wife, housekeeper, her world revolving around a home. So now let's proceed to the economic and household structure. So the sex division of labor and differential standard are likewise reflected on the economy. Women have increasingly gained entry into the wage economic largely due to change in globally capitalism and industry-based performance for female labor. The sex The sexual division of labor hones women even when they venture by necessity or choice out of the household into the workplace. So women are domesticated by the family household, their labor privatized, men's labor on the other hand is social. So women cannot compete equally with men for jobs. So training opportunities or promotion because of lower levels of education and training work absenteeism and tardiness or gender preference for male. So, suffering greater job insecurity, lower pay, scarcer work opportunities on the average working woman. So, that's why naa siya'y economic and household structure because men and women are not women cannot work all like man they can work um, the the heavy work also. So now let's tackle to the law and state policy. So the concept of men as head of household governs not only census taking but much of government policy. So gender subordination is also maintained by laws including church or canon law. So the new family code has reduced to some extent and blatant sexism in the laws governing marriage, family, and property relation as for instance in greater equality in choice of domicile in or expanded grounds of the legal separation. So the existing family household is perpetuated by state policy of a legal system that proposes greater power, authority, and opportunity in men's general. So, for instance, a greater equality in choice of domiciles, expanded grounds of legal separation. So, but the revised penal code needs to be expound of a lot of excess laws laws and until that happens it can undermine the modest gains of gender equality under the reform family code. So so those female entry into the wage work is dictated by fluctuating needs of capital rather than as an inherent right of woman as a person. So, as in the right to work and just remuneration. So, the existence of a family household system is predicated on control over female domestic and productive labor. So,